A shocking turn of events is about to shake Weatherfield, and we've got the full update. You'd be hard-pressed to find numerous residers of Coronation Street who had anything ever nice to say about Theo Silverton in the wake of his death. The man was a cruel, vicious abuser who totally tried to destroy Todd Grimshaw, employing every conceivable form of abuse to break him down and torture him, and, once his true colors were exposed to the Weatherfield crowd, made no trouble to conceal the beast within that he'd preliminarily gone to great lengths to hide. While Utmost would happily forget that Theo ever was, that's an impossibility right now, as Lisa Connor, Swain, and Kit Green are presently in hot pursuit of the occupant who tete-a-tete saw to his death via an almighty whack to the head. Making up the sanctioned suspect list are his long-suffering ex-wife, Danielle Silverton, Todd's father figure and closest confidant, George Shuttleworth, his gal Christina Boyd, Theo's former stylish friend and pucka-bully basher, Gary Windass, the consanguineous son of Billy Mayhew who Theo killed, Summer Spellman, and Todd himself as the Corrie Bobbies. Begin to pick piecemeal the web of secrets, falsehoods and riddle that surrounds the dark act. James Cartwright himself counted by on the riddle this once weekend at the BAFTA Television Awards 2026. James Cartwright keeps suckers guessing. James teased the Radio Times, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Is that a price you're willing to pay? It's been a really instigative time to be part of the show, and here, it's not who you suppose it is. So it could be Summer. Unlikely, but she could have hit him with a can of sap, put him out the reverse of the shop. It could be George. You know, he's a big boy, and he's formerly thumped him. It could be Pauline. There's so numerous people that it could be." James gushed further over his involvement in the Murder Week plot. "My gosh, it was so instigative, and I feel so honored and blessed to have been at the show at the time, and I suppose it's really, really thriving. And I suppose that you had too. You had a double whammy. You had who was gone na die, and also who's done the murder. So you had two mouthfuls at the same cherry." Summer's in the frame. Coming week sees George and Christina discover Summer's journal. Observers have preliminarily seen her reading a runner, covered in penmanship about Theo's monstrous true nature, but they discover a new runner, complete with Summer describing holding a gun to his head. As they splint through the journal, discovering runner after runner describing her deep fury and abomination, they begin to believe that Summer could have put an endless end to Theo. With the discovery of this private journal that Summer scribbles her studies into, I suppose she's panicked because she knows that it looks really bad. Whether she's shamefaced or innocent, this journal isn't a good thing for anybody differently to see, because it does interlace her. So I suppose that she's scrabbling and clinging at straws of how to get around this, to get around the fact that they set up this journal containing her darkest studies. Tackle latterly makes a huge discovery, and Summer is dragged in for interrogation by Lisa. Talking about her alter-pride's mindset, Harriet said, "I suppose she's scarifying. There has no way been a situation like this that Summer has indeed been close to. She's also allowing about Billy. What would he suppose of me now? That's in the reverse of her head, and that makes her panics indeed more. Whether you're innocent or shamefaced, sitting in a police station being questioned over someone's murder is terrible. Deals of the day. So she's just in fear mode, and she knows that there are these effects mounting up against her. It doesn't look good, and it's how she can get around these pieces of what look like substantiation against her. Coronation Street suckers suppose they've worked out the real reason Gary Windass prevaricated to police over Theo Silverton's murder, and it could involve Sarah Platt. Gary is presently one of the biggest suspects in the disquisition, especially after a print appeared to blow a huge hole in his justification. But while investigators are fastening on where Gary was that night, observers are induced there's another secret being covered up. There are still plenitude of unanswered questions girding the night Theo Silverton was killed. And Weatherfield police are easily starting to realize that not everyone is telling the verity. What observers know so far is that Sarah arrived home from Carla and Lisa's marriage worse for wear and tear after drinking too much. Effects also took an intimidating turn when she stumbled across what appeared to be a brake, heft, and was attacked by Jody Ramsey, who struck her over the head. David and Shona latterly set up Sarah unconscious on the bottom before she was rushed to sanitarium. Meanwhile, Gary Windass claimed to police that he'd been at the builder's yard at the time Theo failed. Maria backed him up too, claiming they had slept together there, and that she latterly made Gary cancel the CCTV footage to spare them embarrassment. But Tim's print from that same night appeared to tell a veritably different story. It showed Gary near the scaffolding when he was apparently at the yard. It means one of two effects: either Gary prevaricated because he killed Theo, or he was hiding commodity differently entirely. Coronation Street observers prognosticate a fair twist for Gary and Sarah. Suckers now believe they've figured out what Gary and Sarah are really hiding, with a new proposition suggesting the former couple intimately slept together on the night of the murder. Participating the proposition online, one Coronation Street addict wrote, "Sarah and Gary. I suppose they slept together on the night of the murder. I've just been catching up on this week's occurrences, and they're both acting so shifty and surely hiding commodity. But I do ain't suppose either of them were the killer because it would just be too egregious. Sarah is ain't indeed in the lineup, and they're trying a bit too hard to put Gary in the frame this early on, which generally means it was ain't him. So I suppose they had an affair before Sarah went back to the Platt's house and got terminated. Not to mention that Sarah sounded a bit too concerned about Gary when she was asking Tackle about the questioning. It's like she was seeing if she'd have to come clean about an affair to be in justification and save him from getting charged for murder." Whether the proposition proves true or not, observers are convinced Old Honey and former Weatherfield killer Gary and Sarah Platt are both hiding commodity huge about Theo's final night. Do they've a secret that could end up saving Gary or Bone? That would destroy both of them? Former Coronation Street star James Cartwright has teased that a major twist will come in the ITV Cleaner's rearmost whodunit plot, which began following the murder of the evil Theo Silverton. The villain was set up dead before this month after his body was discovered by Betsy Swain on the day of Carla and Lisa's marriage, with the development coming at the end of the Cleaner's aptly dubbed Murder Week. While we do not know who committed the crime, the suspect list has been whittled down to 6 individualities: Summer Spellman, Danielle Silverton, Todd Grimshaw, Gary Windass, George Shuttleworth, and Christina Boyd. George, Gary, and Todd have formally been brought in for questioning by the police, with bonds getting fractured as allegations fly around. In forthcoming scenes, Summer will be the coming in the blasting line as some suspicious stuff is set up. Cartwright, who played Theo, spoke to Radio Times at the BAFTA Television Awards on Sunday, teasing, "It's been a really instigative time to be part of the show, and here, it's not who you suppose it is. So it could be Summer. Unlikely, but she could have hit him with a can of sap, put him out the reverse of the shop. It could be George. You know, he is a big boy, and he has formerly thumped him," he added. While he remained coy about the identity of his character's killer, the actor spoke about the plot that eventually led to his exit from the Cleaner, participating, "My gosh, it was so instigative. I feel so honored and blessed to have been at the show at the time, and I suppose it's really thriving. You had a double whammy. You had who was gone na die, and also who has done the murder. So you had 2 mouthfuls at the same cherry." As part of the forthcoming developments involving Summer, she'll make plans to return to America after being accepted into university. Naturally, with reservations rising, it's a move that only makes her look more shamefaced. Summer's in fear mode. Everyone who is linked to Theo is just trying to keep their head above water and stay out of dubitation. "Way," revealed Harriet Bibby, who plays the cherished character. Todd Grimshaw's grief and wrathfulness following Theo Silverton's death gurgled over in tonight's occasion of Coronation Street. The disquisition into Theo's murder continued, with DS Lisa Swain and DC Kit Green's reservations falling exactly on Gary Windass. Maria Connor gave him a justification for the time of the murder, but an accidental selfie taken by Sally Metcalf places him exactly at the scene of the crime. He is not the only suspect, still, with George Shuttleworth, Christina Boyd, Danielle Silverton, Summer Spellman, and Theo's partner Todd also in the frame. Todd has come decreasingly paranoid in his grief and in the wake of the abuse he suffered from Theo, criminating those closest to him of boggling Theo, and he indeed met up with Gary to calf him, which was witnessed by Tackle. Tonight's occasion began with Lisa and Kit participating their rearmost propositions, and Lisa described Gary's justification as being as dodgy as aftershave. Lisa asked Kit what Sarah Platt, his mate, allowed. With her being close to Todd and the possibility that he may have told her commodity that would lead them to the killer. Latterly, Todd visited the Rovers with Christina, where he appeared worse for wear and tear. Lisa and Kit also arrived for a quiet drink, where they asked Todd to be case until they've a suspect. Todd was easily maddened, but sat down to enjoy his pint in peace. He eavesdropped Tackle and Lisa agitating the case, which caused him to snap and make a bold accusation. "However, none of this would have happened," he said to Lisa, "if you lot had kept him locked up." They indicted Todd of having too important to drink, and it was suggested that maybe he should leave, but Todd refused. How long will he continue to helical, and is his jest motivated by secrets we observers do not yet know?